Hello viewers, in our video today we will be discussing the similarities between Shakespeare's Othello and Aristotle's guidelines. My name is Xochitl Moreno and I will be discussing the introduction and character.
My name is Abigail Moreno and I will be discussing the plot and diction.
My name is Nicole Milliman and I will be discussing language, thought, and pity.
My name is Alejandra Moreno and I will be discussing spectacle, melody, and fear.
Shakespeare is recognized worldwide as a playwright and poet. Shakespeare's play Othello provides a unique quality to his list of plays. Othello entirely represents the classic tragedy. The famous Greek philosopher Aristotle gave the classic tragedy a distinguishable definition. Many of these qualities can be observed in Othello, qualifying it as a representation of Aristotle's influence on literature. Aristotle defines tragedy as a serious piece of work that invokes pity and fear, and that is best performed rather than narrated. These unique qualities can all be found in Othello. Aristotle states that 6 parts comprise a tragedy. These 6 things consist of plot, which is the representation of the action, characters that take part in the action, reasoning, which is the way they use speech to demonstrate something or to make a general statement, diction, song, and lastly the ornament of spectacle. These are all listed in order of importance.
Defined by Aristotle as the imitation of the action and the combination of events, Aristotle notes that the means of organization, which is the plot, is the most important of the 6 elements. The plot of a tragedy is where its value lies. Aristotle states that a plot is whole if it contains a beginning, middle, and an end. He says that a well-constructed plot has neither a beginning at a random point and neither an end at a random point, but rather will observe the principles. Magnitude. He suggests that tragedy be neither too long nor too short, but be of moderate length. He guides and says that if length is sufficient to permit a change from bad fortune to good fortune, or vice versa, and to come about in an inevitable and probable sequence of events, this is a satisfactory limit of magnitude. Tragedy around one character is not successful, and a plot must be organized in a way that each scene and action must be necessary for a way that its presence or absence makes a great difference. All scenes and events are constructed in a logical manner in Othello. Iago's deceptive nature is seen from the beginning to the end. Every scheme and plan of Iago's is important to the play and pushes the play forward towards gaining pity, content, and sympathy from the audience. Aristotle states that plots that contain sudden, unexpected, but logical events are the best. The deaths of Desdemona, Othello, Roderigo, and Emilia, as well as the survival of Iago, are unexpected but crucial to what defines an Aristotelian tragedy. Reversal and recognition, otherwise known as parrhesia and anagnorisis. Parrhesia is the reversal of one state of affairs to the exact opposite. The sudden change of Othello's great love for his wife, Desdemona, to a sudden and chilling change to anger are an example of parrhesia. His murder of his wife is a great example of the reversal between love and anger. Anagnorisis is a change from ignorance to sudden knowledge. In Act 5, Othello comes to the sudden realization of Iago's betrayal, and his realization of the matter is too late, as death is already come upon him.
Aristotle gives 4 guidelines for a character. The character must be good in the sense of morality, the character must be appropriate, the character must be lifelike, and lastly, the character must be consistent in their imitation. The tragic hero must be a person of high esteem, must fall from his position into tragic circumstances, and his downfall must result from his hamartia, or tragic flaw. Othello portrays a perfect example of a tragic hero based on Aristotle's definition. He is a respected military general of the Venetian army and the Duke's right-hand man. He is not only respected in his job, he is also respected as a person. Othello is presented to be morally sound until his major flaw of gullibility and jealousy is revealed. He is extremely trusting of Iago solely because he is a military man who he served alongside for many years. This makes Othello extremely gullible. Because of his tragic flaw, Othello experiences a tragic downfall. Othello's downfall is set into motion when the jealous Iago convinces Othello that his wife is unfaithful. And then on, he begins to lose his noble traits. He treats his wife with little to no respect and eventually kills her. In his distraught state of mind, filled with grief, Othello decides to kill himself in one of the greatest reversals of fate.
In Poetics, Aristotle explains that a tragedy must apply the following literary devices. Catharsis, feelings of pity and fear felt by the audience for the inevitable downfall of the protagonist. Hamartia, a tragic flaw that causes the downfall of a hero. Hubris, excessive pride without moderation, and nemesis, pain at the undeserved gains of others.
Further conventions of a tragic hero examples. Catharsis. The audience experiences catharsis at the end of the play when Othello confesses of his guilt and knowledge of his vulnerability to jealousy and hearsay. Hubris. Othello's hubris allows Iago to manipulate him. Othello chooses to trust Iago. If he chose to trust Desdemona or Emilia, his downfall would be non-existent. Othello allowed the emotions of rage and jealousy to take over, causing him to become irrational. Hamartia. The hero's fatal flaw is his gullibility and jealousy as stated above. Nemesis. A nemesis is willing to spoil their rival's life for their own ignorant and grudging needs. Iago is so hungry to become lieutenant, he comes up with a sneaky plan on how he will achieve this goal and bring down Othello.
According to Aristotle, the greatest thing by far to have is a command of metaphor. It is the mark of genius, for to make good metaphors implies an eye for resemblances. In Othello, there is a large usage of figurative language. It is a crucial part of how language distinguishes the status of the characters. Well-respected characters holding high social status have eloquent speech. They use figurative language frequently, and they speak in verses such as iambic pentameter. Less important characters in Othello speak in prose, which is ideal for their ordinary social status. An example of figurative language in Othello reads, "O beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on." In this quote, the green-eyed monster is a metaphor for jealousy. Iago is stating his hope for jealousy to take control and enable Othello to murder his wife. Thought is one of the objects of tragedy. Aristotle defines thought to be the moral or logical proof pointing to a conclusion present in a play. It comprises the rational process through which characters come to decisions or realizations, represented in the drama. Anagnorisis is a character's discovery that enables their transition from ignorance to knowledge. In Othello, anagnorisis is a critical component of thought. During the dramatic ending of the play, Othello undergoes anagnorisis through thought, and finally understands that Iago had been deceiving him all along. During his final soliloquy, Othello aims to justify the terrible decision he made, and tries to demonstrate his motives. Othello pleads that he loved his wife too much, therefore he could not cope with the thought that she lied to him.
Spectacle is all the sensory effects that are used in the play, including scenery, sounds, music, lights, actors, and costumes. Aristotle considers spectacle to be of the least importance and artistic element of a play because it doesn't contribute as much to the plot as the other elements, and it is the least connected segment with the art of poetry. The production in a tragedy depends more on the art of the producer of the play rather than that of the poet. Othello doesn't exactly rely on spectacle, but more on the complex plot of the play. The only true spectacle in the play is the issue of race. Othello is the only one in the story, and because of this, his skin is constantly being compared to all the other characters. His character is constructed and presented to the audience in a manner that associates colored people as less than others, which is frequently experienced within the Shakespearean plays. Aristotle states that the chorus within a production should be regarded as one of the actors, and it is an integral part of the whole as it shares in the action. Shakespeare's Othello uses melody and music creatively in order to enhance the plot of the play and foreshadow pivotal events that will be experienced throughout. A climactic use of song in the play is when Desdemona sings a song of Willow in the scene before her death. She fears that something bad may happen to her at the hands of her husband because of the mysterious rage he has been in. The song acts as an allusion to Desdemona's murder by Othello, and it serves to elevate the stakes of the scene. Iago also uses songs in his plots for power, as he sings drinking songs in order to encourage Cassio to get drunk. The songs tend to be rollicking, jolly justifications of drinking, causing Cassio to get drunk and lose his job under the power of Othello, just how Iago intended it to happen. Diction is a prime virtue in order to be clear and concise. Aristotle says that diction is best when it uses everyday words, but in a poetic manner. It is necessary to blend the ideas of everyday language and figurative language to make the tragedy clear. Shakespeare's Othello is filled with metaphors, allusions, and imagery, and Aristotle says it is only used to enrich the language of the scene. Shakespeare's unique use of language and the formation of diction allows the audience to connect with the characters and give a foreshadowing of events to come. Shakespeare's language is able to hold true to each character's intentions and nature. Iago's soliloquies provide a sense of his villainous ways, and the diction in which Shakespeare describes Desdemona's sweetness provides a sense of her naivety and submissiveness. In Poetics, Aristotle states that superior poets include pitiful elements into the structure of the piece.
Pitiful actions must occur between individuals who are either friends or enemies, no in between. This is because when an enemy kills an enemy, the intentions are not pitiful. The plot of Othello follows this structure through the events that occur between Iago and Othello. Shakespeare displays Othello as a misled character, making the audience feel pity for him. Iago manipulates Othello to a great extent, making him lose everything he ever had, including his own life. As a tragic hero, Othello realizes his wrongdoings once it is too late, causing us to pity him.
Aristotle states that the best plots are those constructed on the principles of fear, whether by accident or even coincidence. Tragedy is an imitation of complete action and also of events inspiring fear or pity. This effect is best produced when the events come on us by surprise and can also be heightened when they follow a cause and effect relationship. Just how in Othello, Iago's actions caused the downfall of many of the characters within the play due to his malicious scheming. Within tragedy, fear is experienced most fully by the misfortune of people like ourselves. The change of fortune should always be from good to bad. In Othello, many characters resemble ourselves and take on very literal human-like qualities, and in their downfall, the audience is able to experience fear because they can associate with the characters, much like Othello's own downfall and gullibility. If harm is done from one person to another in which they have a relationship or are acquainted with each other, it will incite pity and fear as a result, whether it is done with full knowledge or in ignorance. Much like the murder of Desdemona by her husband, Othello, when he believes that she is cheating on him with Cassio.